They'll be calling you radical. Before I get to this new really great data from John Kirk in Vancouver, who lives on the ocean, and all these great activists, my army is spread up and down that I've developed. They're on the ground. These are people that eat, sleep, drink their whole livelihoods, their whole lives. He's the battle board guy on for his entire life there on the Starfish data. Before I get to that, I want to talk about this video that I put up 2 videos ago, which I believe it could be one of the greatest pieces of art. I've waited and waited and waited. And I told several people what I was up to on that. And I said, don't you dare comment. Don't you dare tell anybody what it is and what I'm doing. And let's see how long it takes people to go through the comments and see who will finally get it. And I know plenty of you people watch it who understood it and don't comment. I know that. You're great. And I says, watch to the end of it. You know, comments coming, this guy's schizophrenic, this guy this. It's Al Pacino's rant in Justice for All, which Al Pacino could be the greatest actor of an entire generation. I believe that he is. That's his greatest work. And not just because of his great work at 79. I timed it. I've waited for that rant to do that for a long, long time. Because in that rant, it's exactly what we have to have here. No, the prosecutor's got all this evidence and he's not going to get this guy. No, I'm going to get him. And he turns. He breaks ranks. He blows it up. Art, imitate man, no, man's always out front. Man has to lead art. As Pollock, he said about Jackson, about de Kooning said he broke the ice. Look, Pollock said it himself over and over and over. Don't worry about the attacks, where the strangeness will wear off. These dramatic, yeah. My video's all about unwinding. It's all winding, the captured art, the captured culture, the captured all. I blend all art forms in these things, all of them. I haven't got a term, you know, I've called it the visual blues, I've called it improv, I've called it so many different things, but it's so much more than that. You know, it's so much more in this dramatic tale of Fukushima. When I started this, I didn't know, have I gotten better? Of course I've gotten better. It's like a craft, it's an art. You know, I use that video, I Live to Tell, and I want to tell everybody, I live it over and over and over, and I do it. That's in 1986, and people don't understand this about the MTV genre, the music video genre. That video with Madonna sitting in the chair with I Live to Tell, that's a true story with Sean Penn, with Christopher walking to the 229 mark next to the water. And I tag it, was he thinking of the Russian girl, Natalie Wood? You know, I was on that, but there's so many, but in that video and whatever, you could see Warhol's thumbprints all over. The people that created Madonna, that brilliant freaking scene, they just found her, they already had it in their heads. Where do you think they got it? Where do you think, you could see Warhol's from Borderline, she spray paints that fucking car. I mean, it's Warhol everywhere. Oh, Andy, why are you making these films? Why is it in the painting? You know I'm a giant fan of his, and you know everybody's got him misunderstood. He was sarcastic, he was a fucking genius. And the MTV, you've been smacked by smooth criminal. It's brilliant. So much of that is brilliant, but this is much more. As that's a dramatization, I'd say. I go into Gandalf, I go at, you know, Peaches, you know, it's sad because you got to realize he spoofed that. That girl went to the schoolyard in San Diego. I was out in San Diego. It's like this. I'm in Fresno in 1978, and I'd been listening to Van Halen. I'm telling all my friends, man, you check these guys out. It's like the first time I heard them, like, oh. It was like, I mean, it was like sex on the beach the first time with your hot-ass San Diego girlfriend. Oh, yeah, then, same time. They, at the fire pits at La Jolla, yeah. I mean, wow. So here's Eddie opening for the War Pigs, Ozzy and the boys. Let's drive over. We didn't drive over to see War Pigs. We went to see Van Halen. We'd heard it, so, you know, took the train clear from here, right from here. And you could almost feel in the audience that Ozzy was backstage pissing his pants. Eddie comes out on the stage, they rush up and around, the whole crowd's like, oh, what did we just see? That was Pacino's fucking rant. The dramatization, yeah. Well, Gandalf writes that silicone chip inside her head. She opened fire, and the psychologist, everybody, why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? San Onofre, why'd you do it? And you don't think it's iconic that Apple's going to split on the 6? I stood exactly right here and announced to the world that San Onofre was done. When I was the only one saying they will never open, at the hearings all over, when I got kicked out of the hearings before I even spoke. I've been on the San Onofre fight so intensely, they announced it, I kept saying, remember I kept saying, we're going to hit the beach on D-Day, we're going to hit the beach on D-Day, we're going to hit the beach on D-Day. They come out the morning, D-Day, we're done. and I announced it right here, as Gandalf's beautiful daughter died so tragically recently, Peaches. But Gandalf was like, oh, that American culture, look at these idiots, blah, blah. When it was really her, she was being sexually abused by her father, as we know now. As these things all, I rolled it all together in that video. So much of it came to, that video is spectacular that I did. This is a piece of art. But back to the starfish and whatnot, I waited for the, and I want you people to say, don't wear your ignorant comments on your sleeve like I do my emotions, but my emotions are well thought out. In concert with the event at Fukushima, they're in symphony, they match it toe to toe, fist to fist. I unwind art, as art, theater's been captured, media's been captured, music's been captured, visual art has been captured. All this, that's what this is unwinding it, putting it back together to its purity, sitting on the chair. Sitting on it. That Madonna video is so incredible, brilliant. Not because I'm a huge fan of Madonna, no. That song slows down the beat, it breaks. The movie, the tie, the black, the old thing. I mean, it's genius. And remember, Leonard Patrick, when he made that, wrote that song, was not for that movie. It was for Ophelia. And we can get into that. Oh, curse the spite that I was ever born to set this right. Country Wars, a version of Hamlet. This is the blending of the arts backwards. I'm unwinding the onion. I've been doing it the whole time. I've been waiting for people to grasp on and say, Kevin, I finally get it. You're unwinding all these arts in an eclectic way. You're unwinding, putting back to the purity. That's exactly what I'm doing with the greatest event that ever happened, is putting the art, because the art has to. Van Gogh, Melville, that's what this is. As John Kirk's telling me, my little army, he's up there on the ocean. The starfish are the canary in the coal mine. He's been tracking them, and he's starting to put up videos now, whatever. He says, today he got back, and I told him a few days ago, I said, really handle this, because I think this plume's getting bigger and bigger, and the way my tracking is going to hit Vancouver in the next few days. He says the starfish, he found all kinds of them just mutated, and they're melting and dying again in Vancouver. And this is from John Kirk. He owns a paddleboard business. He's an incredible activist up there. This is no crackpot in his basement. This guy lives his life on the water. Huge businessman, incredible, dynamic, brilliant person. That's my army. It's like Diablo Canyon. You know, reporting the lake, well, Mothers for Earth at Diablo Canyon, Dynamite from Diablo, Gina from freaking thing, you know, Joe. I mean, this is my army that I've been developed. My credibility sources are impeccable. They are in ground and in symphony like I am with the art, with the ocean, with the environment, in the more exposed manner. Don't wear your comments on your sleeve and present your ignorance. Understand what this is. Understand who I am. Understand what I do. Don't jump in and knee-jerk, because that's part of putting the art back in and unwinding the art. The 10-second soundbite versus Fox News and your freaking hyperbole. Click it, watch it, done it. My retention level, YouTube sent me thing, is in the 1/10 of 1,000th of 1%. The average YouTube viewership is 13. I knew that in inception. I know what I'm doing. There's a method behind my madness. I want to shut down all nuclear. I really do. I mean, did I know the cancer would come in my body? No. And by the way, I got to tell you the story on my surgery. It's not going to happen now. This is crazy story. This morning, I'm like, you know, because I have good insurance now through the state, whatever, through the whole fight, whatever. And I called and they says, your insurance was canceled May 30th. What? With no notification? My doctor was like, what? Are you kidding? He's still under our care. He's staying in the bone marrow transplant. This guy has de novo. You know, he's our guinea pig. We're watching. His case is going to appear in the medical journal. He's setting the playbook for this treatment. He was pissed. Well, I can tell you why. My work at getting the cows out of the energy solution site, my fights with Mike Lee, somebody got pissed off and pulled me. So no surgery, that's okay. You know, maybe it happened because maybe they were going to Warhol. That's how Warhol died. You know, and I'm going to explain on my radio show tomorrow so much about the treatment I went through and how intense. And I'm going to talk about it in detail. In detail, how horrific it is my Fukushima fish hook in my central line, in my spine. Look, Geldof wrote that song. And he knee-jerked, and it's a beautiful song, and Geldof's a beautiful artist, and the Boomtown Rats were beautiful. It's a beautiful song. I love the song. But his thesis all of a sudden, oh, it's just these crazy men. When it can happen to any of us. It happened to his beautiful daughter. You know, she took her own, you know, a drug overdose. It's sad. What's going on? It's sad. We need to start looking at all ourselves in the mirror. There's a lot of, look, I really believe that a lot of the great writers, a lot of the great activists are going to be born as sweet of uses of adversity. There's a lot of adversity out there right now. A lot of adversity. I was just talking to a handicapped guy who's wheelbarrow. He's stuck to his wheelchair. And he's a brilliant guy. And I says, I think a lot of those guys are going to become the great writers of our time, the great activists of our time, are going to be the disabled, the homeless. I really believe it's going to be true. There are great new artists, writers being born as we speak, and activists. It's happening. I've watched it as I travel in my places, and you know, it's happening. The new art, the activists, that's what I've been doing. I'm trying to unwind it all. Be theater, be it visual arts, be all the humanities. All the humanities have been captured, and I do it intelligently, articulately in an economic thesis, in a real thesis with the greatest story. I mean, my place in time. It is my place in time, and you know, I wanted to see. That's nothing more than my dramatization of Al Pacino's Incredible Rant. And remember, they're not going to get him. The prosecution's not going to. He would do it again. He told me so. He would do it again. That's exactly what we have to have right here. To my whistleblower in Berkeley, I know you watch. Be that Al Pacino. Be Arthur Kirkland. Be Arthur. Be Arthur. To somebody inside a news desk somewhere, the marine biology department's up and down the coast. Be Arthur. Be Arthur. Be him. Be him. Be Pacino in that rant. You will be the politicians. Any of the break ranks. You will be worshipped for generations, for millennia. You break ranks, the first one that does on the inside, and they be Pacino in Just for All Night. The first one that does that breaks rank. Stay tuned.